with roll call. Alder Galvin's here.
Alder Dorf is here.
Alder Corpus Dax is here.
Johnson here.
All right, we're all accounted for. And let's see. We'll go to the election of the Personnel Committee Chair, and then we'll do the election of the Personnel Committee Vice Chair. Do I have any nominations for the chair? Alder Dorf.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Alder Bill Galvin as chair.
All right. Anyone else?
We don't need a second, correct?
Right.
All right, and then I'll accept that nomination. And then I think we do a roll call vote, or we can do I don't know, does it have to be a majority or a roll call vote, Joe?
Yep. You can do it. Are you asking if you can do the vote open or closed?
No, I mean, can we just do all in favor, aye, and?
You can if you want, yeah.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those not in favor? All right. And I think Brian's muted yet. Okay, so at least it's majority voted.
I think
All
it
right,
says
now-
Brian is connecting to audio. He might be having an issue?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Okay,
I just keep it on mute unless I need to speak.
voids awkward issues. All right, on to the election of the Personnel Committee nominations.
Nominate Brian.
Okay,
Second.
all right, any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor of Alder Johnson for vice chair?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that appears to pass unanimously. Okay.
One quick thing.
Yes.
I did have a quarter, but we didn't need it, so that was good. So I thought we were gonna have to use it.
And I had an old frame that we could put it in if we needed to.
But all right. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, that's fine. I enjoy that. Approval of I'll entertain a motion for the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
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 All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Everyone's had a chance to look at the minutes. I'll entertain a motion on the minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve in a second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? And that passes unanimously. On to regular business. Consideration with possible action on the request to fill the following replacement positions and all subsequent vacancies resulting from internal transfers. We have a signs operator from Public Works, signs worker foreperson from Public Works, and an operator from Public Works. We can take this all as one unless someone would like to discuss A, B, or C as a separate item. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that we take them all as one.
Okay.
Second.
Second? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes unanimously. On to, okay, now I'll entertain a motion to approve item number one.
I move to approve.
A second.
I have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? That passes unanimously. On item two, consideration with possible action on the request to establish a commercial building inspector classification to reclassify one building inspector to commercial building inspector.
Pretty fast.
Staff?
So for this item, you do have a memo that is prepared by Generalist Jennifer Smits, and then we also have Director Vonk on the line, as well as I think also Duncan Wig. If you do have any questions, I can direct you to them, and they can answer that for you.
I guess just for the public's understanding, anyone that might be listening in that hasn't been able to access, or even for future, if either Vonk or whoever wrote the memo could just give us a brief outline of what they're trying to accomplish here.
Sure. This is Director Vonk. Paul Van Kelster, Chief Building Official, is also here. He put together the memo, but just from a high level, one of the things that we're trying to do in the department is really work on, having career progression and looking at responsibilities in terms of, when employees come in, other room opportunities to grow. And we have that a lot throughout our department, except we don't have that a lot in our inspection division. And so we've been working with Director Falds, overall longer term strategy, especially as we get more senior staff who may be on the verge of retirement down the line, to have different classifications in our building inspectors, our trades inspectors, and our housing and zoning inspectors. And so we've had a long ongoing conversation about this. I think this was probably a point of contention. Maybe this is pre-Director Falds. Initially, when the comp and class study was done about lumping all the building inspectors together, I think there was enough difference in the activities that they were doing to have them differently. But the consultant and director at the time felt that there was not. However, after evaluating activities after a few years, really feel like it is time to differentiate the building inspectors based on the work that they are doing. And we have an individual who is really responsible for all of the commercial inspection in the city. And this is high level, high risk work. As I mentioned in my email out to you, there's no shortage of big projects that are going on in the city, both from a development perspective. We've got hospitals, they continue to grow and expand, industry that continues to grow and expand. And despite the pandemic, things aren't really slowing down. And so what we're looking to do is to reclassify one of the building inspector positions to a commercial building inspector position. And then the second part of that would be to reclass one individual into that position. I think what that does is it provides an opportunity in terms of a career ladder for our inspectors, but also really reflects the nature and the complexity of the work that is done. Working through our department in terms of having the skills and qualifications to meet that commercial building. We're again trying to train others to be able to have certain certifications and do that complex work. But right now at the time, we only have one individual able to do that. And so with that, I think that will help us in terms of being able to provide a better response to our business community, and especially dealing with a lot of these big projects that we see in the forthcoming future here. And so with that, comes for you the request today. And I don't know if Chief Building Official Van Kelster wants to add anything to that.
This is Paul Van Kelster, Chief Building Official. I don't have a lot to add to that. Kevin summarized well. The key component of this is the years of experience and the level of complexity that this position has to deal with compared to just lumping that individual as a building inspector versus a commercial inspector. So that's the big push, as Kevin said, why we want to separate them and distinguish between.
Yeah, to illustrate, there's a big difference between looking at a single family house and Green Bay packaging. Alder Dorf had a question?
I do. Is there a person that you're planning to put in this position? Is that are we dealing with that separately, or is someone immediately going to be reassigned? When will that happen?
That is part of this request, and we are looking at Rob Cormier, who has been serving in that capacity, as asking for the reclassification of his position.
I missed that. Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions from any other committee members?
There it is. Okay, I see it. Thank you.
Just one question here, Bill.
Yeah.
Alder Galvin. Dr. Vonk, is this particular position, from the report, it looks like this individual is already doing 90% of the work that's classified in here. Do you see, I guess, the responsibilities of this position changing at all, or is it just that we're changing the grade to the scope of responsibility for the role?
So I think part Twofold. One, yes, I think it's partly to reflect the actual actions that this individual has been doing. But in terms of increased responsibilities, we would like to make sure this individual is training other building inspectors in our department. I think it's really important that we, build kind of a chain of continuity. If this individual is out for any reason, we're lacking when it comes to providing services on the commercial sector. So I think, we have a few inspectors who are much younger in terms of experience. And I think part of the additional responsibilities would be to help train individuals, both from a building plan review perspective and an on-site inspection tasks as well. So having that individual do those additional things would be something asked of this position.
Okay. And partly my question, of course, is I'm trying to avoid the appearance that we're handing out a raise at a time when, we can ill afford it. But if we can justify that with added responsibilities, I think that makes a little bit more sense than just a straight up reclassification for the sake of, really modifying the pay scale.
Correct. I would take, taking individuals out of it. I think just longer term also, if this individual were to retire or not work for the city in terms of retention or recruitment, to get somebody to come in and do this level of work that we're asking, would require, again, that higher level of experience and then coordinating with a higher level of pay that's comparable to, I would say, other communities that do this as well. So I think the other piece, that we've talked about, and I sent out an email to the members in terms of our goal. I think I'm very sensitive to the budget and where things are at, and making sure we do this in a way that's budget neutral. Now, it's not necessarily a formal action that's taken by the personnel committee, but working with HR and how we fill our vacant compliance inspector position. To do that in a manner with some part-time employees that provides, in a good way, some flexibility for us and the department, but ultimately will make this budget neutral, if not potentially resulting in a savings, overall for our department.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Bonk, just I think one question that comes to mind. In your memo to us, you described how there's actually been an increase in building and construction work, commercial work being done within the city of Green Bay. Compared to other years, is this a bunch?
Yeah, so we're pulling some numbers together, and it's sometimes hard to tell, right, depending on how you slice the data. But since I've been with the city over 5 years, the number of permits that we're dealing with has increased, and the monetary value in terms of the we estimate a value of the construction has increased pretty significantly. And then also just with that, I would say just the complexity of the projects. And when you're dealing with something, like Green Bay Packaging that has very intricate mechanicals and HVAC in it, it's a very complex structure. Or, our healthcare facilities, we've seen Aurora, Purveya is building a new facility. These aren't just, a warehouse or an office building. These are things that require, attention to detail in terms of the plan. Not to mention 1265 Lombardi Avenue. We're also responsible for doing that inspection, and they seem to like to remodel every few years. And again, that's another thing in terms of utmost health and safety. Those are things that we consider in terms of those complexity of what this individual does. That's we've been having more of.
Okay, and it seems like that, and that we were until this COVID thing hit, we were on a roll. I mean, there's a proposal for Fox River area development, that the TIF district that we created down there, apartment buildings and all that. Are staff able to keep up with it right now? I mean, where would you say we're at? I mean, as for the staff able to do their job and do it right, so that it's being done properly, but also being done so that we're not making people wait to get their projects up and running and continuing to run to the end, so they can get done as quickly as possible to save themselves money and get their properties open to the public.
Sure. A few comments, and then I would let our chief building official talk about this. I would say, we are taxed in terms of our workload activity. Of course, right, with COVID, we've had to switch things up, but we've been able to really perform most everything in terms of permitting and processing and doing inspections virtually. Right now we do have a little bit of funds that we use to work with a contracted employee on doing some commercial site plan review because we can't handle it in-house. In terms of, again, those who have the commercial building experience to review plans and go through those, we're not able to handle them totally with our staff right now. I would say, we're tight when it comes to, scheduling inspections and then pushing that turnaround. I think in terms of, overall, as we talk about customer service, when we have site plans and building plans, we like to be able to turn those around, within a 2-week period. Anything we can do more is great. But I think, when it comes to deadlines, we're filling up and we have enough in the queue to do those. Again, I'll go back to, I think a lot of that comes with the complexity of these projects. I mean, they're not just like a simple office building with simple office build outs. I mean, they're very detailed or complex projects. We did ask or talk about a building inspector, an additional building inspector in the last budget. I know because of constraints that was removed. Probably plan to do so again in this upcoming budget. I guess we'll see how things shake out given the overall economy. But just anecdotally, from what we've seen in terms of permit volume, we're doing a lot better than I thought we would be. Despite the slowdown and things, there are still projects that are happening in the community. And I just know, our front office staff and our inspectors have been busy in terms of getting a full load of, permits to process and then plans to inspect. And I don't know if Van Kelster wanted to weigh in on any of that or just provide some context.
Yeah, the only that is we're right on the edge. We're still staying on top of plan reviews and site plan process. There's nobody waiting on, if you will, the city. It seems like the demeanor of those submitting is a little more friendly, which is good. To the fact that people are working virtual and it's flowing well. I'll just say it that way. But we are getting tight, and there's an indication, there's a desk up here on 6th floor where the site plans come in. And when that drafting table is full, it means the floodgates are coming, and it's still busy. It hasn't slowed down, and actually it's picking up right now.
Okay, then I would ask that, I agree with what you're trying to do here, but I would also ask them that we be kept apprised of how that's moving along. If we have to subcontract out temporarily or start looking at a part-time position, or whatever it takes. We've heard the complaints about contractors having to wait on the city of Green Bay, and I certainly don't want that to happen. It seems we're on a good roll here. I'm not sure how the COVID is going to affect it down the road. Continue that roll going and keep these contractors happy with us because we're helping them to get their jobs done as quickly in the long run. I want to make sure that we keep that in the forefront here and don't let it fall by the wayside and try to do more with less, which ends up sometimes being doing less with less.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the change and to establish the commercial building inspector classification and fill it with the person that was recommended.
I have a second.
Second.
Okay, I have a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And that passes unanimously. All right, on to number 3. I'm sorry?
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Consideration with possible action to approve a request by the Green Bay Professional Police Association under Article 13.1, Duty Incurred Disability Pay of the collective bargaining agreement to extend the time period to provide full pay beyond 180 days for an officer who has sustained an injury on duty and is disabled from performing normal duties. I think all of us have been able to read the attachment that came with this. Does anyone have any questions about what is going on here, or would someone be willing to make a recommendation here?
I make a motion that we recommend to approve. I don't have any questions.
Okay. Alder Johnson, do you have any questions? Alder Corpus Dax? Oh, there you are. I'm sorry. Alder Corpus Dax, do you have any questions? Okay, then I'm looking for a second.
Everyone's muted.
Did I get a second yet? Okay, a second from Alder Corpus Dax. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that passes unanimously. On to informational. Request by Alder Galvin to discuss concerns behind the delay of city-appointed officials from the Common Council meeting of April 21st, 2020. I would like to go into session. So I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
Okay, I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll read the verbiage that goes with that. The committee may convene in closed session pursuant to 19.85 sub 1 sub C Wisconsin statutes for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee. The committee may thereafter reconvene in open session pursuant to 19.85 sub 2 Wisconsin statutes to report any actions taken during closed session and to consider all other matters on the agenda. All right, so Joel, I guess you can let us know when we're all in closed session here.
Yep, I will do that.
Alder Johnson, thank you for Alder Corpus Dax, thank you for seconding. All those in favor? Aye. And none opposed. So that's unanimous that we're back in open session. I'll entertain a motion.
I would like to move and receive and place on file the informational item that we discussed.
Second.
And I have a second. All right, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. On to number 2, report of routine personnel actions for regular employees. Does someone have any questions for Director Falls?
Nope.
All right, I will entertain a motion on that.
Motion to receive and place on file.
Do we have to approve it or receive it and place on file?
Receive and place on file.
Okay. Second?
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 That passes unanimously. The next meeting date is May 12th, 2020. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. See you in a few minutes.
Have a good night, everyone.